Good evening and welcome to the Locker Room Sports Show after Scotland have just drawn 2-2 against Georgia this evening in Tbilisi. A really, not a great performance from Scotland, but in the end, a result that we've already qualified, we already know that, but a magnificent draw in the end for Scotland. Lawrence Shankland, yeah, what a novel idea, put a striker on, he scores. Fantastic draw in the end for Scotland in a game that we maybe weren't overly impressive in, but delighted that we managed to get a point out of that. Just let me send a link to our man Michael, who, give me 2 seconds while I sort this out. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll sort this out. I'll be back in 2 seconds, guys. No, my mic is muted there. Yeah, so Kvaratskhelia was the main danger for Georgia, and he put Georgia ahead on 15 minutes. Scotland did fight back in the end through an equaliser from Scott McTominay, his 7th goal of the competition. But then Kvaratskhelia made it 2-1 later on. But thankfully, Lawrence Shankland, the Heart striker, scored for Scotland very, very late on, having come on as a sub. And let's get Michael on here. I think in the end, for a deserved result for Scotland. All right, Michael. I think a deserved point in the end for Scotland because I think we did have a lot of possession and we had a few chances, but in the end, it is a draw. And I'm going to let Michael take over.
Oh, right. Okay, thank you. Yes. Sorry that I was powdering my nose outside. Yeah, it wasn't the best performance from Scotland tonight, but you'll take the point.
100%. We were talking in the group chat before we came on about, you want to try and win every game, but I think the important thing is we didn't lose, and we haven't. I don't think it was a great performance. Even into John, who says evening JB here. It wasn't a great performance. I thought there was moments in the game where we dominated the game in spells, but I thought defensively we looked really, really vulnerable. You'll probably get to this in a minute, but I thought Greg Taylor had a really poor game, and I think the substitutions at half-time did make a difference. I thought Kenny McLean coming on. I know that our colleague James is not a massive fan, but I thought he did okay. I thought Lewis Ferguson did okay as well. And taking off Gilmour and Christie, who I thought weren't at their best, was probably the right decision. But listen, the thing is, and I said this on one of the Twitter things that earlier on, that it's going to be, the fact that Scotland have qualified is great, but we might qualify having only lost one game, which is crazy to think that we're not going to finish top. But listen, today was one of these games that we weren't overly impressive, but it's a great draw then because we know our record in Georgia is not overly impressive.
Yeah, I get your comment coming in. Good evening to Gregor. Thanks for watching. In case you're getting mixed up, by the way, it's not the 19th of November. It's not like we've been forward.
I put the wrong one.
Maybe that's why Graham Sugar went to school when he was a bit younger. But don't worry, I failed my maths at school. It's fine. Nobody can see it. It's only me and you. Ha ha ha. Thanks. Get your comments coming in. You're here until 8 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook Live as well. And don't forget you can follow us on the Locker Room Indie on Twitter. Yeah, I was just about to text you, Graham, before we equalised, and I was going to say, when was the last time that we spoke about Scotland getting beat? Well, obviously in this qualification, but in any kind of game. But Shankland saved my bacon because I was just about to send it when they put the ball in the back of the net.
It's funny because I put on Twitter about 10 minutes before he came on, here's a novel idea. Maybe put a striker on the park and Shankland that scores goals. And look what happens when you put him on, he scores. And it's a great header as well. It's a great ball and a really good header. And maybe if he'd been brought on earlier, we might have won the game. You never know. But yeah, delighted for Shankland, honestly. He deserved it. He deserved the call up. The disappointing thing for me is that had Shea Adams not got injured, Shankland wouldn't have been picked. So that's a bit of a disappointment for me. But you can't leave him out now because he's a goal scorer. You know, I said it earlier on in the at the end Twitter that I put in. Dykes has got 1 goal in 14 games now. It's not a great record. Now, don't get me wrong. Dykes works hard. He's a decent enough player, but he's not a goal scorer. I don't think he really ever has been a massive goal scorer. He did okay at Livingston. I know he's done okay at QPR, but he's not a natural finisher. Shankland is. You give him a chance and he'll score. And it's a great header. I'm delighted for him because he deserved that call up. He's had to wait a long time for it, and he deserves it, and I'm delighted for him. But I don't think Scotland were. I don't think we deserve to lose. I think a draw's probably fair. I think Xander Clark had a couple of decent saves. I think for me, he should do better at the second goal. I think the first one, I don't really blame him for that. I think Greg Taylor gets caught out. He comes inside. I don't know why Greg Taylor's coming inside, and he gets caught out. So I don't blame Clark for that, but I think he should do better for the second goal. But other than that, I actually thought Clark did okay.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that because we've qualified now, Grim, do you think that it's a case of players playing for the places at Germany? And that's, yeah, I'm thinking about Rodman Shanklin. And by the way, he must be assured to start on Sunday night against Norway.
I think the one thing we know about Steve Clark is he's very loyal. So I think he will reward loyalty. And the guys that got him there, I think I wouldn't be surprised if he does start with Lyndon Dykes. But, I mean, after tonight, I'd be gutted for Shankland if he doesn't play because he deserves it. Hashbury says, I was chuffed for Graham when I heard Shankland scored. Mate, I just about burst my roof in the house because I was celebrating that much. Delighted for him. So happy for him. But, yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the Scotland squad that started tonight, I think there's probably about 4 players on that lineup for me that start in Germany. And I would say probably Porteous, I think McGregor and Gilmore. Actually, no, I'm going to say more than that. So you've got Porteous, McGregor, Gilmore. Well, he wasn't great tonight. McTominay and McGinn. I think they'd be the definite starters in Germany when we get there. And I think as well, you've also got to look at the fact that, and I was going to put this in the group chat as well. Obviously, tonight there was a few changes to the team that played against France, understandably. But I genuinely think when you take guys like Robertson, Hickey, and Tierney out of that lineup, we're a very different side defensively. I just think defensively we don't look as good when those guys are in that, and especially Kieran Tierney. You know, Tierney is a massive, massive player for us. The sooner he comes back, the better, because I just thought today McKenna was miles off it. Porteous didn't have his best game, and again, like I say, Taylor and Patterson weren't overly impressive. I think I kind of felt sorry for Patterson, though, because he was booked early on. For me, that wasn't a booking, I don't think. I think Michael Stewart's right, that wasn't a booking. So it kind of made him a bit vulnerable that he kind of couldn't go into a kind of hard challenge. He had to watch what he was doing. But I just think defensively looked a bit vulnerable tonight. But I think there'll be players in that Scotland squad that, and I don't think they switched off tonight because they qualified. I just think Georgia played better at times, but delighted to get that point because I didn't want to go at these last 2 games and think, well, it's done, doesn't matter now. You want to try and get something at these last 2 games. We've got a point tonight. We can round it off with a home win on Sunday, which I think we will. And Sunday's going to be a party atmosphere. And it'll be great. The atmosphere at Hampden should be amazing on Sunday.
I think this is the first show we've done for a wee while, Graham, that we're not going to speak about VR, but there were some dodgy incidents tonight in the whole game, and why Georgia wasn't down to 10 men or even 9 men at right. But Scott Brown was right at half time. Scotland should be a bit more streetwise and be a bit shooter because other teams can get away with that. You know, they can roll about for about 50 rolls and get up and get a free kick, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you think Scotland have got quite a few experienced players in that lineup who you would think would actually do that kind of thing, but it didn't happen tonight. And Georgia, yeah, they could have had, certainly in the second half, at least a couple of players sent off. But, I mean, the referee I thought was very overly fussy today, to be honest. Like I said, that first half, the booking for Patterson I thought was very harsh. There was nothing much in that. To book him for that seems very, very harsh. But he was overly fussy tonight. He wasn't as bad as the one in the Spain game, though. He was just awful. but he wasn't great tonight. And I'm actually glad. The only worry I had was actually when Shanklin scored because they said they're checking it, and I thought, oh, didn't he do this to Shanklin? Did he rule the goal out? Thankfully, they didn't. There was nothing wrong with it, so I was delighted. But yeah, I'm delighted after the amount of shows that we've done talking about VAR. I'm delighted we don't have to worry about that tonight.
And coming up tonight at 8 o'clock, we've got a VAR special. And I'm on the keg in Gloom. Up until Georgia scored, I thought Scotland won the game. And then when Georgia scored that game, I think Scotland lost away for about 15, 20 minutes in the first half. But I mean, I suppose like the move of the first half from a Scotland point of view would be McKenna's cross to Christie. And if Christie got a foot to that or anything, it was in the net.
Yeah, I think there's another chance as well. It was a ball at the box from a free kick, and I think Dykes glanced with the header wide. I think he's got to do better with that. I think he's got to score from that. But there wasn't really much in the way of the first half chances. I thought Georgia looked very dangerous in the counter attack. That was my worry. There was a couple of times they got in, especially down Taylor's side. But I thought we got a grip of it eventually. But we could have been a couple of goals down because Clark did make a really good save in that first half as well. So yeah, there was moments in the first half that I thought we looked a bit vulnerable, but I thought we had a couple of decent chances. But I think Georgia, I know it was early, but I thought they scored against another play because I thought Scotland started the game very well, and it looked like we were going to control the game. But it's just that first goal. It's just really poor from a Scotland point of view. It's a decent ball out wide, but I don't know what Greg Taylor's doing because he steps inside. He's almost at centre back. Stay out wide. It's a decent ball in the box. And again, I think Porteous has got to do better on the cover. And then, like I say, I don't think there's much Xander Clark can do about that. I know during commentary they said that Clark might be able to save that. I think it's harsh. I don't know if there's much Clark can do about that. But the thing with the Scotland team is, and they've shown it a few times this season, they've shown it against Norway as well, they can fight back. They've got a fighting spirit that if they're going to go a goal down, they can get back in it. Now, they've had to fight back twice tonight and got a draw. So it does show that there is something about that Scotland side that if they do go behind, they can get back in it. But I'd rather not have to come from behind to win a game. I want to try and get in front. And let's be honest though, Scott McTominay now, 7 goals in qualifying is an incredible record for a midfielder as well. It's unbelievable what he's doing so far.
John commenting on YouTube. Thanks for commenting, John. By the way, check the Scottish Football Forums podcast out. It's brilliant. You might hear me and Graham there. Maybe if you're lucky, or maybe if you're unlucky. He says that Clark just found out this afternoon that he was in the starting squad tonight. And Happy House, I like that name. I bet you if you didn't get a point tonight, I don't think it would be a Happy House. But anyway, he said good evening everyone, good evening Happy House, and thanks for watching as well on YouTube as well. So we went in 1-0 down at half time. Graham came back out for the second half. I was still eating my pie. No, I wasn't actually. I was just saying that as a joke. And a good start to the second half with McTominay getting the goal.
Yeah, and like I said, 7 goals in qualifying is really impressive, and it's a decent finish as well. It did look a little bit like it was in slow motion, and even the keeper looked a bit kind of dumbfounded where the ball was going. But yeah, he's just, you know what? If you take a chance, you're going to score. And I like the fact that McTominay does get himself around that box and he does take shots. And yeah, his record has been phenomenal. Hopefully can add maybe 1 or 2 more on Sunday and finish the campaign on a high. But McTominay has been so important to Scotland, just like John McGinn. The thing is, it seems that our midfielders are so important to score goals because, let's be honest, as much as I do like Lyndon, Dykes and Adams, they don't really score a lot of goals. So our midfielders want to chip it with a lot of goals and they do it. But yeah, McTominay again, what a record he's got. Seriously, it's an incredible record. And I find it really surprising that, because I listen to a lot of different podcasts as well, and the English podcasts as well, and a lot of Man United fans don't rate McTominay, which I do find a bit strange because he's a natural goal scorer from midfield, and they're very hard to come by.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say to you, Glenn. The wrestling's got in commentary tonight. I think Rory mentioned it as well. That that he's playing in the poor Man United team, but he still gets picked for Scotland, and I suppose that says a lot about Scotland. Tomine the man being picked for the Scotland squad, and you can see it. I mean, it pays off. It pays off every time he pulls on that jersey for Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, again, I listened to the radio before I came on, or before the game started, and they were talking about the formation, and they were saying, maybe could McTominay go to a back three? No, 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 no. Never put McTominay in a centre back position again because he's awful. Play him in the position that he's meant to play in, which is midfield, helping the strikers out because he's a goal threat, and that's what you want. You want your midfielders to score goals, just like John McGinn does. Never ever play McTominay in the back line because he doesn't suit playing in the back three. He's not a centre half. He never has been. So if you play McTominay in his right position, then that's what you're going to get. And it's no surprise, I think, when the first goal goes in that it is him that scored. And it's funny because my laddie hadn't been watching the game, but he came downstairs and he saw the score was 1-1 and he said, who scored? And I said, McTominay. And he went, what a shock. So even he knows McTominay scores. So yeah, he's a massive, massive player for Scotland. But play him in his proper position. Don't play him at centre back again because it doesn't work.
You're a Hearts fan, Grim. You've been watching Zanga crack as of Craig Gordon's out of the team at the moment. And he's been doing well for Hearts. He's a good goalkeeper. I like him. But do you think he was at fault for the first goal tonight?
No, I mean, I've watched it a few times and I don't think there's much he can do. I would blame more Greg Taylor for getting caught out of position and also Ryan Porteous for not getting across quick enough and cutting that out. I don't think there's really much Zander Clark can do about that. I think the second goal, I would probably ask questions about Clark in that position because I think he probably could do better with that. I know it's through a ruck of players, but I think Clark, and you can see Clark's reaction after it as well. Even I think he thinks he should do better with that. So, I mean, I think Clark's a funny one because a lot of Hearts fans don't rate him. And you're going to be compared to Craig Gordon. We've not had a better goalkeeper than Craig Gordon for a long, long time. And it is harsh that Clark gets kind of that reference because he's not as good as Craig Gordon. But I think at times Clark has been a really good goalkeeper for us. There's been moments in games where I think maybe he could do a bit better. There was a game against Kilmarnock, I think it was last season, where he let 2 goals in, but he was injured and he should have gone off. So I think Clark, for me, probably does get a lot of unfair criticism. I think he's a good goalkeeper, but he's always going to get compared to Craig Gordon, and that's harsh because he's not at that level.
Happy House says I rate Big Zanga, so there you go. We spoke about the good start to the second half with McTominay. I can only note a few notes in the second half. Dykes header, that was some heading in the second half. And we've got to say the foul on McTominay. I mean, I do not know for the life of me why that guy was still in the park.
I know. I mean, you talked about it earlier on. There probably could have been a couple of, certainly one at least, red card. But I mean, I do think it. Like I said, I think at times the referee was a bit card happy, but then he didn't make the big calls and sending a guy off. So yeah, I think that probably was a red card, but it's not really had a massive effect on the game. I don't think. I think Scotland just needed to be a bit better offensively. If we'd had a second half with a couple of decent chances and didn't take them, if we're a bit more clinical, we might have won the game. And like I've said, if you bring Lawrence Shankland on earlier, we maybe do win the game. But I'm not the Scotland manager, so John says, what do you guys expect will be the starting lineup on Sunday? I think it's a tough one because, like I said earlier, I do think that Steve Clarke will be very loyal to the players that he's played already. So I don't think there'll be a massive change on Sunday. I think he might go very much the same as he did tonight. I mean, whether the likes of Kenny McLean, Lewis Ferguson might have a chance of starting, but I think he'll go very similar to tonight. Honestly, I'm biased. I would love to see Lawrence Shankland starting, but I don't think he will. I think he'll start Lyndon Dykes because he will feel that Lyndon Dykes has helped us get to the Euros, and he has, without scoring a lot of goals. but I think he'll be very loyal to the players that started. So I don't think there'll be many changes. I think somebody, I don't know who it was that I was talking to a couple of days ago. So forgive me if you're watching this, but I think somebody had mentioned to me that the plan might be to have played Xander Clark tonight and play Liam Kelly on Sunday. Now I don't know if that'll happen or not, but I'll be interested to see exactly what we do on Sunday. But like I said, it's going to be a party atmosphere. I just hope we round the campaign off on a win.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit like you. I would like to see Shankland getting a run on Sunday, but I don't think that he would come on for the whole game. I think he might start the game and come off after like 75 minutes or something, maybe 60, or maybe come on from the bench. But I'm not expecting him to play the full game. I think you're right, Graham. I think he'll pick the team. It's got us to the Euros as well. But am I right in thinking that we've got one more international window before the Euros next year? Is that right?
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to, and it'll be interesting to see who we play. Obviously, it'll be quality or position because obviously we don't know the groups yet. They won't be done until I think it's the 5th of December. But you would imagine that like the standard of teams will say that again. Will we play? Will kind of go up a couple of notches as well.
It will, and I think that's why Steve Clark picked the friendlies that he picked against the likes of France and against the likes of England. You know, to play against that quality you're going to play at the Euro. So I can understand why he did that. And that's the teams you want to play against. You want to play against these top teams and try and be competitive. Maybe we weren't as competitive as we'd like to be in those games, but when it gets to an actual proper game, and I don't know if anyone on the chat or this can tell me or not, but I think as well, if we've not got Nations League games as well to play, I'm sure we've got Nations League games as well to play. I might be wrong about that. John said draws on the 2nd of December, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's about that time. And here's a question for everyone on the chat based on something that Happy House has said here, and based on one of our colleagues, James, that put in the group chat about Kenny McLean. What's your guys' thoughts on Kenny McLean? Do you rate him? Because James doesn't.
Well, I would maybe ask that question and avoid Happy House to answer, Glenn, because he says I would have Kenny McLean or on from the start. So don't answer that.
I know, that's why I asked it.
Yeah,
that's why I asked it.
Yeah, don't answer. Or maybe that's James and he's using he's in his Happy House. I'm not sure.
No, James is never happy. We know that. That's why it's called Mr. Grumpy.
Exactly, yeah. That's why we're not going out in the regulars tonight because he's on the regulars now and we're on Independence Live. Keep your comments coming in, folks. We're on until 8 o'clock. Comment on Facebook and YouTube, and don't forget you can follow us on Twitter because we follow now and again. It is the Locker Room on Twitter, Locker Room Indie. I should know that by now. On Twitter, or as I said last night on my ex, my girlfriend went mad with me. But anyway, so that was a poor joke for pantomime season coming up.
That's the best one you've done for a while, to be fair.
Yeah, well, all my life, Graham, actually, 40 years of it, yeah. I know it was a bit of a disappointing, well, I would say it was not our best performance tonight, right? But you would take the point before the game, or you would take the win before the game. But knowing that you've actually qualified for the Euros, because, like, you know, imagine if we had to win tonight to qualify. So all the work has been done beforehand, and we can go on to these two games kind of calm down. But obviously, we want to do well, Graham.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, John says that he does like Kenny McLean, but Ferguson should be ahead of him. And Happy House said, I think the Nations League game start after Euros, but I had in my head for some reason that if we didn't qualify for the Euros, we still had the Nations League to fall back on. I don't know why. I don't know where I got that from. I might be wrong, but I just had a feeling that the Nations League was still there as well. But yeah, I mean, I think you want to go into every game trying to win it, and you obviously put in the group chat that you want to try and end the campaign on a high. And we've not managed to do that tonight with a win, but I do think, I mean, getting a draw in Georgia, we know a record against Georgia in Tbilisi. is not very impressive. We don't tend to win there. So it's a little bit better tonight than it would have been. But, I mean, that guy, Varet for Georgia, is a fantastic player. He was a constant threat. He was probably their best player as well at Hampden in that rain-sodden game as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a decent point tonight. It didn't matter in terms of qualifying because we qualified already. But I'd have liked to go over there and, got a win and then won the last game as well. It would have been great. But listen, I'll take the draw all day long.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at the Nations League games, Graham. There's matches in March, but I can't see where Scotland are playing there. But obviously, yeah. So there's Nations League games on in March as well. So yeah, I mean, all in all, it's been a brilliant campaign, Graham. I mean, obviously you're disappointed to take the point out of the game, but I've kind of said it on all the shows. That in fact, all the shows apart from the Ireland game. Remember, we done that one where we get beat 3-0, and you think, oh no, it's going to be a long time before we're back at a big tournament and a major tournament. But it goes to show how far we've came in a short space of time.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've just got to look at Steve Clark's record. What's that now? Played 50, won 26, drawn 9, lost 16, and it's got to 2 tournaments. I think Steve Clark's done a remarkable job. And I said it ages ago, when we came on the show ages ago, I did say that when this group was drawn, I did think it was between us and Norway for second place because I thought Spain would win the group. I don't think anybody could have expected us to be in the position we are. With 2 games to spare, we'd already qualified. That is very unlike Scotland. This is not Scotland at all. So it's been a magnificent campaign. And I said it earlier on as well. For me, the game that turned it was that Norway game. To be 1-0 down and playing really, we came on the air after that game buzzing because we were awful that night. We created very little. We were really poor. And then Kenny McLean scores that winner. And it was just incredible. The atmosphere completely changed. And that, for me, was the game that said, we're going to qualify. And I've never gone back on that. So it's been a magnificent campaign. And what you want now is when you get to Euros is to actually, and again, I think John's right as well, that matters potential with the pot seeding as well. Georgia, the Nations League playoff, which are in March, we would only have played if we failed to qualify automatically. Fair point. But yeah, I mean, it's been an unbelievable campaign, and it just goes to show how good a job that Steve Clark's done. I mean, how often have we said on this show previously that turning up for Scotland previously was a bit of a drag, but now players don't pull out. They want to play for the national team. And I know that there was something, I think it was a few days ago, I can't remember who it was that said it on the radio, but they were also talking about the fact that we could potentially as well have Anthony Gordon playing for Scotland. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. And if he did decide to pick Scotland, fair enough. But he's got to earn his way into the team because these players that have played for Scotland so far deserve to be there. So, yeah, I think players want to play for Scotland now, which is great. And I hope that continues.
Graham, I'm now getting worried, by the way. I think that is James that's commenting because he says the game turned around when Kenny McLean came on tonight. There you go. Thanks, James, for that comment. And John says they are a good few who watched him out after Ireland away. So
he's right.
Yeah. I mean, if you think
we did the show that night, and a lot of fans were coming on here saying he's got to go, which does seem mental now.
Yeah, no, exactly. And again, I know I've said this in the European games when we've covered Celtic, Rangers, and John's team Aberdeen, but it just put Scotland on the map again. I mean, the last manager could lead us to 2 major tournaments back to back was a late great Craig Brown, and Stevie Clark now will go in the history of the books as well.
I don't think he could have done a better job. Let's be honest. I mean, who could have done better? Yeah. We've had false dawns in the past. We've had Bertie Vogts. We've had Craig Levine. We've had false dawns in the past and it's not worked. We've had George Burley. Remember those days? This has been an unbelievable campaign, and what he's done is fantastic. It really is. And I'm delighted that we've, to be sitting here talking about Scotland positively, because it's been far too long that that's happened. We used to come on here going, oh, it's such a drag watching Scotland. I can't be bothered. International breaks are rubbish. Just get club football back. And now it's like, can't wait for the next Scotland game.
Yeah,
I
now
suppose
it's
the
all the way
only,
about.
yeah, I know. I suppose the only thing is now that we've got to wait a long, long time for the next Scotland game. Listen, other people will probably say it's a good thing. And yeah, I mean, I love the Scotland games now, and we're all positive now. And I now can't wait for that draw on the 2nd of December. It's going to be real interesting to see who Scotland have got. We know it's going to be difficult. We know it will be. But I mean, just imagine if Scotland could actually get out the group. That would be the next stage. That would be unbelievable. And there's no doubt. I think we've got the players to do it. We've got the experience. We've got the players. We've got a lot of quality in there. And it feels great to be a Scotland fan. And like I've said previously, a lot of folk outside Scotland look at Scotland and think, they're not very good. But now we've qualified with 2 games to spare. We're going to the Euros, and folk are actually looking at us going, actually, they're not a bad side. They've got a decent side there. So it's great.
I know you were saying we've got a long time to wait, but at least you know what's going to happen. And in Germany, no party, no Scotland, as I say. But I think that these kind of Euros makes it extra special, Graham, because the Euros like we qualified for before, we were just coming out of lockdown, and there wasn't full houses at the game.
No, there wasn't. And I said it when we did those shows at the time. I'm coming out of my house and I'm going along the street, going to the shops and stuff, and I'm seeing Scotland flags outside windows. I'm seeing Scotland flags on the back of cars. I'm seeing folk with Scotland tops on. That's how big of a buzz it was that Scotland had qualified. You were watching these kind of news channels, watching people going into schools and stuff, and young kids with Scotland tops on buzzing for the Euros. It was brilliant. And that'll happen again for the Euros this year or next year. It'll be unbelievable. It'll be an amazing atmosphere. And Azulino's right. We're guaranteed a horrible draw. Of course we are. We'll get a terrible draw. Because looking at some of the groups, I've not got it to hand, but I seen it a couple of days ago. Looking at some of the groups that we could get, there's a lot of very difficult teams in there. But I'd rather be in it than not in it.
I wonder if John is going to I think you're in the Tat Army. I wonder if you're going to Germany next year. I know the other John missed out on a ticket for the game, but I wonder if John number 2 is going to the game. So maybe you can let us know, and maybe if anyone in the chat is watching this game wants to give me and Graham a press pass or anything to the game, we'll be there. It's going to be
a locker room show at the Euros. I could do that quite easily.
It's going to be a busy summer next year, Graham, because the way I was planning my summer was going to Germany and then going to France for the Olympics. But
we know that our colleague Stephen has managed to get tickets for 4 of the games, which will be unbelievable atmosphere. It really will. John says he's hoping to get to them. He's hoping to get there, but still to the side destination. I mean, it's going to be great. It really will be an unbelievable atmosphere. We know what Scotland fans are like when they go abroad. It is a party, unlike the English folk who just tan everything they go into. This will be brilliant.
I think we should help John here, Graham, because obviously he says I'm hoping to get there, but still about the destination. It's Germany, John. The Euros in next year. So just in case you didn't know. But yeah, good luck with your ticket anyway, and good luck to everybody that's going. And we're not jealous at all. I mean, Glenn, but we'll just stay at home and put the feet up and watch the telly. We would rather be there. So if you're watching someone that I work with, say, or whatever, send me and Grim tickets and pass for the games. But yeah, I mean, looking back in the whole campaign, Grim, it's hard to believe that this is our first drop points in the whole campaign.
Well, we lost to Spain, obviously, so that was drop points there. But I mean, let's be honest. 5 wins out of 5 at the start of this competition. I don't think anybody would have thought that. You just snapped the hand off at the start of the group. But somebody had actually said to you at the start of the group, we're going to win 5 out of 5. That included Norway and Spain. Nobody would have thought that. So it's been superb what Scotland have done.
And we've
shown that we can. Yeah, exactly. We've shown we can compete with really good teams. But like I said, the next stage now when we get to the Euros has got to be trying to win at least one or two games and try to get out of the group. But all that's going to depend on the draw. If we get a decent enough draw, then it could be done. But that's the next step for the Scotland squad. They've got to try and go a bit one better and try and get out of the group. Then that would be brilliant because we've never been out of the group before. So that would be a major achievement. But this campaign, honestly, has been superb. Can't fault it at all. It's been unbelievable. And I'm delighted because, as John mentioned earlier on, there were a lot of Scotland fans after that Ireland game wanted them gone. And there was a lot of different podcasts and stuff saying the same thing. But Scotland, we stuck to our guns and we've given Clark the chance and he's done it. He's got us there. So, yeah, really, really pleased. And watching Scotland just now is very enjoyable. I never thought I'd say that, but it is.
The only downside to this, and you're like, oh, Michael, why do you have to be like James? But um, we were talking on the show ages ago, Graham. I can't remember what game it was, and we had David Ferguson on. I think it was after the England game or one of the games in the Euros, and we were saying that, and that was going back to your point that you may get there on. We haven't really got anybody coming up through the ranks in terms of to like replace Adams and Dykes. No kind of out and out strikers. Obviously, we still got a bit of time in hand, but nobody's like coming through. Well, obviously Shankland, but you're not going to lay that pressure on the guy tonight. I mean, he's only played 10 minutes.
Because we've got Lawrence Shankland. We've got Lawrence Shankland. Genius. I love the guy. I think if he can get fit, you've got Kevin Nisbet as well, but I don't know how he's doing at Millwall just now. But yeah, that's always been my worry. And I said that ages ago. That's always been my worry that we don't have enough strikers in that Scotland squad. We are very reliant on midfielders scoring goals, which is fine. That's what I want from them. But I'd like to see at least another couple of decent strikers in that Scotland squad. Because as much as I think Dykes and Adams do a decent job, like Dykes is decent at hold-up play, he's good in the air, Adams runs the channels a lot, they're not clinical enough for me. So I'd like to see another couple of decent strikers on that side, but I don't know who. I mean, unless you're bringing Lee Griffiths back from wherever he is, but we don't have enough quality strikers in that team, and that's my worry, I think. But yeah, we've still got plenty of time to hopefully. But the thing is as well, though, if you look at the teams in Scottish Premiership, you look at, for example, Celtic, their best strikers Japanese. You look at Rangers, their best strikers Danilo. I can't remember where he's from. So you've got a lot of these teams that their best striker isn't even Scottish. At Motherwell you had Kevin Van Veen. At Hibs you've got Martin Boyle, for example. We don't have a lot of Scottish strikers actually playing in Scotland, and that's the worry.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Obviously, this is for another show. This is a happy show. But yeah, as kind of like a bit worrying that, and I think it was, I don't know if it was on this show, but they were talking about homegrown players coming through the kind of youth ranks in terms of Celtic and Rangers. I can rhyme off about 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Hearts, maybe you would know better than me, Graham. They've not just got a lot of players that are coming through at the moment. I think well, obviously you know more about the youth setup than me as well. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, just delighted with the point tonight, and we can look forward to the Norway game, knowing that we still qualified. No, I haven't been in the game for the past year. We are going to Germany, but like we want to, and I think like we want to end the campaign with a win and a good performance as well.
Yeah, I mean, John makes a good point as well, and I completely forgot about this guy. He's talked about, there's been a lot of talk about whether Ross Stewart can get back fit. I forgot about him. He's at Sunderland, I think, and he started off very well, but then got injured. So he's another one that maybe could potentially be in that Scotland squad. But apart from that, there's really not much else. As Lino says, gone are the days of McCoist and Johnson up front, for example. That was, that was some partnership as well. So over the years, Scotland have had really good strikers and really good partnerships, but we don't really have that now. But I've said for years, I've always said that we don't have enough quality strikers coming through. We had the likes of the guys like Lee Griffiths and stuff in the past, but obviously he's done for now. But we just don't have that great depth of Scottish strikers, and that's always been a worry for me. If you're looking at maybe like even Championship League One, there's not really a lot of decent players in that league. No disrespect to them, but they're not really at the level for Scotland. So yeah, it's a bit of a disappointment for me. But I mean, if we can finish the campaign on Sunday, and honestly, the atmosphere at Hampden on Sunday is going to be outstanding. It's a night game under the lights. Hampden will be absolutely packed. It's a party atmosphere, the last game of the campaign. And it's actually quite nice to go into this not having to win. We don't have that stress of thinking we've got to win this game to qualify. It's actually nice to have that monkey off the back. So it'll be a really good atmosphere, a really party atmosphere. But I would I think like everybody, to finish this campaign with 3 points. And it would be great if we can get them. And I think we will. I don't really see enough from Norway to worry me. I know they've got Haaland, but he's a penalty merchant. Doesn't do anything else. And I think Odegaard's a decent player, but apart from that, Norway, I don't think I've got a lot that I really fear. And we've already beaten them. So there's no way we can't beat them again.
See, and going back to Stevie Clark's comment early on as well, and by the way, I think that Stevie Clark deserves some amount of credit, not because we've qualified for 2 back-to-back tournaments, but you think of the how long that he's got to work with the Scotland squad between the international windows, Graham. It's not very long. It's maybe a week to 10 days if you're lucky, and then they go away again for a few months, and then they come back in. So it's kind of worked wonders that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely, it has done. International football is very difficult because it's not like when you're a club manager, you can go and sign players on a January window and stuff. You can't do that at international level. You've got to work with the players you've got. And he's done a great job. Like I said, 26 wins in 50 games. I think for any Scotland manager, that's very impressive. I really do. And he's had difficult games in there as well that he's managed to win. And he's done a phenomenal job. I mean, I genuinely don't think anyone could have done better. And the big question will be is if and when he decides that his time's up, or if Scotland decide that his time is up, then who do you bring in after that? Because whoever it is going to have very difficult shoes to fill. The one thing I would say, though, is that he's got a very, very good side there now. And I think he has kind of got a bit of a club-level side now. These players, like I said, want to play for Scotland. So many times in the past, like I said earlier, there's been too many players that have gone, I've got an injury, I don't feel well, I don't want, I'm not interested, I'm not going to play for Scotland. You don't have that now. I can't think of many times recently where I've heard players pulling out Scotland squads. They all want to be there. And that for me is so important. You need these players to be loyal. And Steve Clark's already shown that if you're loyal to him, he'll be loyal to you. Maybe at times he's been a bit too loyal with some players, but you know what? Fair enough. They deserve it because they have done well.
And I think that the thing that I would say about the international window, Graham, is that Stevie Clark won't see his players after Sunday until like the new year or whatever. But he's not got a lot of time to kind of try new players in the system, as it were, because he's only got one more kind of international camp before the Euros, and maybe they'll sneak in an extra game, but he can't change it too much, Graham, and I think that the team that maybe the team he never played tonight, but the team he's playing in the qualifying so far is basically stick with the crying test and not move it about as much.
Yeah, and I think he will do that. And John says that David Moyes might take the job. It's a decent shout. I know that Moyes is struggling a bit at West Ham. He's not had a great start to the season so far, but we know Moyes is a decent manager. And I kind of felt sorry for him because after Sir Alex Ferguson left Man United, trying to step into those shoes was going to be a very hard job, and it just didn't work for Moyes. But he's a good manager. I'm no doubt there'll be other managers getting touted for the job, but that's for another day. But yeah, he's not got I think the formation that Clark plays does work, but I think it does need your big players. And like I mentioned them earlier on, Andy Robertson and Kieran Tierney for me are vital to that. if you're going to play three at the back, they're vital to that, I think. Because Robertson at wing back for me is phenomenal. Tierney has been superb for Scotland. So yeah, I think you do have. I do think you've got a really good Scotland side there. But like I said earlier, look at that team that started tonight. I don't think a lot of them are going to start in Germany, to be honest. Looking at the lineup, Greg Taylor won't start for me. Patterson, I don't think will start. I don't think Christie starts. Scott McKenna, certainly I don't think starts. I thought he was very rusty tonight, as Josh said in the group chat. So you do have good players there, but I think it needs your very best players to be there all the time. And John says if everyone is fit, you'd expect Gunn, Hickey, Porteous, Hendry, Tierney, Robertson, Gilmore, McGregor, McTominay, McGinn, Adams, and Dykes. I mean, that's probably fair. Obviously, yeah, Jack Hendry as well was missing tonight. I mean, that is probably that's probably our strongest lineup. I mean, I don't think Gilmore was great today, but he wasn't the only one. And also, I don't think McGregor was great today, but Cal McGregor is a phenomenal player for Scotland and Celtic, so he has to start. So I think Scotland have got a really good side there, but I just want to see us at the Euros try to get out the group. But again, it just depends on that group. But honestly, I can't wait for the draw now. I'm just buzzing for that draw, and hopefully we get a decent draw. But I think, as Lino said, it'll be horrible because it's Scotland. Of course, it will be.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I know Shankling's only played 10 minutes tonight, and they came on and scored. But it's good experience for Shankling and other guys to come on from the bench. I'm looking at Ross McCrory as well. Like he was on the bench tonight, but it's good for guys to be about the squad, like mixing off and on the park as well.
I'm always said on the show I'm going to be honest, right? Now, I like Steve Clarke, has done a phenomenal job, but I was raging when he didn't bring Shankland on and he brought on Armstrong and he brought on Ralston. I thought, what are you doing, son? You're losing the game. You've got Shankland sitting there. Bring him on. And I thought, he clearly doesn't like him. I even put it on Twitter. He eventually brings him on with 4 minutes to go and Shankland scores. So, I mean, Shankland, he's had a phenomenal season so far. I know that a lot of Hearts fans I still find it crazy that weeks ago, some Hearts fans were questioning Shankland, saying, oh, he looks overweight, he doesn't look interested, his attitude's rotten. Absolute nonsense. The reason that Shankland wasn't scoring goals is because he wasn't getting chances. He's now scored 10 goals for Hearts this season. He only got 2 more at this stage last season. He's still on course for 20 goals this season, and now he scored for Scotland. His form is phenomenal. And that's why I'd love to see him start on Sunday. I know he won't, but you are right. To be around the Scotland squad is a great incentive. Robin McCrory as well on the bench today. And as John mentioned as well, Grant Hanley as well still to come back in. I know that maybe a lot of Scotland fans are not overly impressed with Hanley, but I think Hanley does a decent job. He's still got a bit of pace. He's a really strong defender. So Hanley, I think, as well is in there as well. So you just look through that squad and think it is such a strong Scotland squad, but it requires everybody being fit. And if players aren't fit, do you have the players capable of stepping in? I don't think tonight we did. Now, I know obviously you're a Celtic fan, James is a Celtic fan. He was very critical of Greg Taylor tonight, and I think that was probably right because I thought Taylor was really poor tonight. But I actually think Greg Taylor's a decent player. But tonight, he wasn't at his best.
Going back to John's comment that Robin McCrory was on the bench, yeah, I know that he was, but maybe I should clarify and say that even if you're on the bench and you kind of don't go on, it's still a good experience because you're in amongst the squad for like a few days, like they're away in Georgia, they come back, and I don't think they'll have time off with their families and all that, and they're back into that for the big party on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone on the chat's going to get this reference right, but because Happy House lives in Germany, all I've got in my head now is David Hasselhoff singing. Now, I don't know if anyone's going to get that reference, but David Hasselhoff sang a song when the Berlin Wall came down, and that is now in my head. I don't know why that's there, but it's in my head. But yeah, honestly, see if Scotland can get off win this game on Sunday. I can't remember what the song was called, but hope it doesn't come back to me. But yeah, I feel really bad saying that now, but honestly, I've got it in the back of my head that he sang a song when the Berlin Wall came down. But yeah, I mean, I think Sunday's going to be like I said, a party atmosphere. I would like to see us end the campaign with a victory, and I'm sure that Steve Clark does as well, which is why I think that he will pretty much stick with the same side that he played tonight. He might, and I think John mentioned this earlier, he might change the formation, but I don't think there'll be a lot of changes in terms of personnel wise, which means that Greg Taylor might start. But the fact the game's at Hampden might help him. You know, the atmosphere will be on, but honestly, I can't wait to watch that game on Sunday because the atmosphere is going to be great. It would be a real downer if obviously Scotland hadn't qualified. It would be a real downer if we go to that game. If we were going to be going to that game, not being able to qualify, but the atmosphere is going to be unbelievable. I honestly can't wait for this game, and the Scotland fans that are there. I knew I was right. I knew I was right. As Lino says, looking for freedom. I knew I was right. That's in my head.
But yeah, I mean, John makes a good comment as well, and it's the comment of the night so far, John. He says, did he not have a song called Get Out of My Car? I think that was a right seg for that. I don't know. I feel as though this is a music show now, Glim. Welcome to Indie Land, very good, the music show. Hey,
I even now have that song in my head, looking for freedom. I even know how that song goes. I'm not going to sing it, but I know it.
Jump in my car and turn around. No, I don't want to.
Looking for freedom. All right, that's just stop now. I'm on a roll now.
Yeah, a rolling sausage. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, Graham, can you remember? Obviously, you're a lot older than me, right? Because you're about 50 by now. I don't know. Well, you would feel like 50 because you've been working with me for 2 years. But anyway, that's for another show. No comment, Mr. Duffy. And we are available for pantomime, me and Graham. Like, I played the Ugly Ciscus before. It was
no, we're not.
It's behind you. What? Carry on. When was the last time you watched the Scotland game and you thought, yeah, we're going to have a party tonight? It doesn't matter about the score, but we're just going to have a party after the game.
I actually don't remember. It's been that long since I think Scotland have had a party. Obviously, after the Serbia game where Scotland qualified, but that was during lockdown. So yeah, Sunday's going to be unbelievable. I actually feel quite jealous of the Scotland fans that are going to be there because it's going to be a party atmosphere. It really will be, and I just hope we can send the Scotland fans home with a victory. And like I said, I think we will. I'm confident that Scotland will get a win because Norway, for me, don't have that massive a threat. I know that people talk about Haaland, but for me, I think Scotland have got a really, really good group of players there, and I'm buzzing for Sunday. I really am. And just to be sitting there knowing that it doesn't matter what happens, we've qualified, Scotland are going to have a party, and it's going to be great. But I just hope we can round it off with a victory. And I think we will. I'm confident we'll win.
By the way, just in case you're tuning in, and you think, "Oh, I'm buzzing. I want a party at Sunday." No, we've actually the producer put up the wrong date. Or it's not the 19th today. I can assure you that. It's the 16th, but yeah, that will be. I was going to say it would be fixed by Sunday, but no. As I was saying to Stevie Clark, leave that alone. Don't mess it up.
Just for a laugh, I might put today's one up for Sunday, just for a laugh.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and no Scotland or something like that. Yeah, but not in the David Castle reference, Grim. You know, well, you can do if you want, but I prefer Pam Anderson. Anyway, that's another.
So do I. Trust me. So do I.
Yeah, exactly. Well, seeing we're happy. I'm coming to Happy House after the show. As well. John was saying Back to the Future. Is that a reference to the car? Oh no, are you talking about the date? Oh, I'm all mixed up. I'm all confused now. But anyway, John, hopefully John will help us. Couple minutes left on the show, 5 minutes left on the show. Get your comments coming in, and Anna Leader says we haven't lost a competitive game in Hampden since 2002. You know what? Why did you say that for? Because you know what's going to
Well, that's
happen.
that, Tiggs.
Yeah, I know. But if we do win, I'll apologise. In fact, I'll put on the David Castle voice and say, yes, I'm very, very sorry. I think he'd like some deals there. I don't know. I was
What
careless.
is that, David Hasselhoff?
I know, exactly. I told you I never went to school, Grim. So if you're just tuning in, where have you been? You've missed a comedy, 5 minutes from me and Grim to make Georgia 2, Scotland 2. McTominay got a brilliant goal and Shatton came on with about 5 minutes to go. I was about to say to you, Grim, too late, but just imagine if he came on about just imagine if they came out on with like 50 minutes to go. We might have been sitting here with all 3 points.
I said that earlier. You know, if you bring him on about 10 minutes before that, maybe he gets a couple of goals. If he gets service, Shankland will score goals. There is no doubt about that. He's a goal scorer. And they're very hard to come by. And I'm so happy for him tonight. He deserves that for what he's done for Hearts. And honestly, I don't think I've been as happy to see anyone score than I was for Shankland. So happy for him. And honestly, I'm just buzzing for him because he deserves it. He's been phenomenal for Hearts. He's now got to go for Scotland. And hopefully now that kicks him on for the rest of the season as well because he has scored. I'd love to see him add to that on Sunday if he gets a chance. But you're right. When he came on in like 86 minutes, I thought, what's he good doing that time? And then thankfully he managed to score. But I wish he'd been on earlier because there was a couple of chances before that I think if he had been on, he might have buried them.
Don't forget, if you're tuning in at 5 o'clock tomorrow night, you won't see us because it's a day off for us tomorrow, but we'll be back on Sunday night for the big game at Hampden Park, Scotland against Norway. On at 10 o'clock, joined by David Hasselhoff himself and Graham and Ian Emerson from the famous Cat and Army magazine. If you haven't subscribed to it, do that because I believe it's a good magazine, and I believe that they've got a good journalist right for the magazine. Oh, sorry, it's me. So there you go. It's a shameless plug for the magazine. So it's out. I think the next one's out on the 10th of December, Graham. So get subscribing now, right, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Just as well, this is not the BBC. I can advertise on here as well. But yeah, I mean, we can look back at the whole campaign on Sunday, Graham, but I mean, up till now, it's been, okay, disappointing a wee bit that you've not won the game tonight, but, no Scotland, no party, and we're going to Germany. That's what it's all about.
I can't wait to see David. I can't wait to see David Hasselhoff again. Hopefully, Pamela's there as well. But yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm so happy that Scotland are qualified, and like I said, it's going to be amazing on Sunday. And I think John said he's going to the game, so that'll be unbelievable. But I can't fault the campaign. Yes, I'd like to have won tonight, obviously, but I can't fault the campaign. It's been superb. Round off with a victory on Sunday, and it'll be fantastic. And honestly, now it all comes down to that draw on the 2nd of December. I can't wait. And I just hope we get a decent draw.
That's all for tonight, folks. Graham's away to see David Hasselhoff and maybe Pam Anderson. I don't know. Why am I talking about this even though we're live on Rig? And anyway, we'll be back on Sunday night at 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your comments. Too many to mention on the show. We'll be back on Sunday at 10 o'clock for Scotland against Norway. Freedom!
Come on, Scotland!